sorry. I guess. So again, Mike Furlong, I'm the defensive coordinator at Westchester, and again, we're going to talk about linebacker drills and skills, and one of the big things, as I was just saying, is I'm going to try to tie in making all of our drills relevant to the things that we're going to do in our scheme, within our defense, and not just run good drills because you saw it on a video from Alabama and Nick Saban runs it. Well, that may be a great drill and it works for his kids in their scheme, but it may not be the best one for us. So I try to run things that are going to work for us and help our kids get better and be better at the skills that we ask them to do. Again, there's probably nothing real earth-shattering here, but again, there's a pattern and a consistency to it, and we'd like to make what we do, as I said, as consistent as possible. What I said, and again, some of you guys sat through my first session, I've got my business cards sitting up on the podium here at the end of the talk. If you would like just to grab a business card, I will, and email me, say that you were here for my session, and I will email you this PowerPoint and the film that goes along with it, so you'll have all that stuff to use on your own, and you can go back through, and hopefully it'll help you a little bit. I also did the previous session on dime and nickel package. If you'd like that one, just tell me you'd like that as well, and I'll send you that as well. With that, I'm going to kind of get into it here, and we'll get started. All right, so the things that we try to start with, obviously, is basic footwork. So we're doing this stuff year-round, so some of the things that I do here are things I may only do in our off-season program here in the wintertime. Some are things that I'll send with the kids home in the summer, and then some are things that we'll do during the season. But we're always trying to develop their basic footwork and agility. We're always trying to teach from a great posture position so that we're seeing the knees bent, we're seeing the hips bent, we're seeing the chin up, the chest and everything in line. So no matter what type of movement and drill and skill we're using, we're always trying to see those types of things, but we're going to start with great footwork. Then we're going to teach reads, and we're going to teach them where their eyes go. What's their read? Back to guard, guard to back, counter reads, all that kind of stuff. Same thing. We're going to have certain drills and things that we're going to do during the winter, certain things we're going to ask them to do over the summer, certain things we're going to ask them to do once we get into the season that way. We're going to teach sheds, which is probably the biggest thing as a linebacker that you have to be able to do. I think, I talked to some guys. I got a real good kid right now, two-time All-American, getting some looks at the next level. And I've had a few other kids over the years, and the thing I get from almost every pro scout I've ever talked to about a linebacker, you college guys, you don't use your hands enough. You don't teach them how to shed blocks. You don't this and that. And I'm just as bad with you guys, the high school guys. I look at a lot of high school kids, and I say he doesn't use his hands very well. And I think that progression as you go forward on every level, all right, is each level you got to use your hands a little bit more. And again, we all have good players. You guys have great high school linebackers. I got some great college linebackers. Some are just so good, they just outrun the block. And they read it faster than the kids that are blocking the scheme, and they win that way, and they don't need to use their hands. But as they progress and as you play better teams and you get later in the season, you're playing in the playoffs and that kind of stuff, that's when you have to be able to do some of those things. So we'll see some shed drills. We're going to talk about tackling. Again, I think, we had an outstanding defense this year. In my 30 years, probably statistically the best defense that I've ever coached. And one of the biggest reasons is we were great tackling in space this year. And we spent some time on it, and we all spend a lot of time on it. And we all wish we could find ways to steal more time to coach tackling and do it. But again, you all know what's going on right now. Jersey now, what are you guys going to get 15 minutes a week to run live football? I don't know how you can teach a 14-year-old ninth grader how to be a good football player in 15 minutes of live work a week. God bless you guys that are going to have to do that. But we got to teach tackling. We got to teach it better than we ever have. We got to find the right way to do those things, and we're going to, like I say, spend a few minutes talking about that. And then obviously, we want kids that can intercept the ball and make sacks and be finishers. So those are the things that we talk about as we progress through the deal. And like I say, some of this stuff are things that I love to do, may not, apply to you guys, but our basic footwork stuff, as we talk about it, obviously your agilities and your bags, I'm not going to go through. You guys all have run your step over drills and in and outs and all those kind of things. We're going to try to do those consistently throughout the year. So again, I have a chart that I've developed over the years and how many times from January when we start our workouts to the first preseason workout, how many times I want to do agiles in the off season, whether it be, like I say, winter workouts, spring practice, or summer drills when the kids are doing it. But I try to say these are how many times I'd like to do it, so then I know that's been covered a decent amount of time. Same thing, we do shuffles and W's and flipping the hips. Again, nothing complicated here, just again, trying to get in that good posture position, step and drag. One of the big things I talk about with my kids, I don't want to see them click their heels. So I don't want to see that back foot click, because again, now you're in an unbalanced position. So we want to step, slide, and replace. So we're trying to go 6 inches is the way we try to progress that. Again, our W drills, again, shuffle, back, forward, all that kind of stuff. But again, I have a series of those. And then again, just shuffling and flipping over your hips, crossover run, flipping your hips, just doing a certain number of those things. We all, again, this kid's a little stiff, he's this or that. Well, you got to work on that stuff. And you can't just say, well, the conditioning coach, for us, we have a strength and conditioning coach. That's not his job. His job is to get him stronger and faster. It's my job to make sure he can do these drills, because that's what I need him to do as a football player. Now, I may work with the strength coach and say, hey, could we add this in or could we do that? And so I try to use that. But again, how many times a year can I do this? And then once we get into the season, agiles are on Tuesdays. Our shuffles and W drills are usually Wednesday. We'll do crossovers and one of these type of drills on Thursday with our individual period. So I try to do one each week so we get a chance to stay consistent. Our crossover runs, and again, you're basically looking at your pass drops, just crossing over 45, running on an angle, bringing that back hip over the top, being able to put your head in the right position, whether it's finding the receiver, looking back to the quarterback, seeing an extra guy coming out, or something coming across the field. So again, we're working crossover runs, working hips and all that, but we're also talking about eyes, seeing the things that you're supposed to see. We don't just run hey, let's just drop to that cone. I want to drop to the cone, and then again, I may have myself or one of the other assistants, or maybe using your players to try to make sure we're tracking eyes while we're doing that, because that's in a game. That kid's dropping to a curl zone back here. You want his eyes here, 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 seeing the big picture. So you want to, when you're doing these things, not only train the feet and the hips and all that, but you want to be training eyes and focus on where you're going. Back pedals, again, I don't kill the back pedals. We do a little bit of it, but again, it's good agility stuff. Change of pace, I think this is really important. We work on it in our tackling deal where you're going fast shuffles to a slow shuffle. We're going to go a fast shuffle to a run. We're going to go a slow run to a fast shuffle, just keeping the pace changing, because again, as a linebacker, it changes all the time. And some weeks that he's scraping and chasing to the edge over and over, and he's got to be able to do that. And some weeks everything's down the chute, and he's just got to play it slow and play it forward, and you don't want to overrun him. So we spend a decent amount of time working on change of pace with all the different skills that we're doing. Shuffles, runs, crossovers, all that stuff. And then loops and tees. Again, mostly just so if we're blitzing a gap and the ball bounces, we're trying to tee and not lose steps. I know you all know what we're talking about. Loops, so if we're in a blitz situation, we're getting screened, just working on retracing, dropping center of gravity. So we're not staying high all the time. And like I say, with these drills, I'm working posture a lot. Body position, like I say, seeing the hips down, the knees bent, the chest down, and the head up so that you can see. So again, nothing real earth-shattering there, but again, basic footwork drills that we use. Okay, the next thing I'm going to work, is our run game movements. So again, same thing. We're going to do a lot of these things in the off season and in the summer, but we're going to do a ton of them during the season. These are pretty simple deals. Our step replace is just our read steps. So again, I'm in my stance. Again, you guys all teach stance the way you want to teach stance. I think the important is comfort and good body posture. Some kids are going to be a little wider outside shoulder. Some kids are going to be a little tighter. Again, 30 years of coaching, I've come to conclude I don't think it matters. As long as they're comfortable and they're not putting themselves in a bad situation. The thing that matters for me is I don't want to see them step inside themselves, so I don't want to see the back foot first. And I know some people teach that, and that's fine. If that's your scheme and what it is, it's good. It doesn't work for my scheme, so I don't teach it. All right, so I'm looking for a 6-inch directional step. We're going to usually read off the back and take our first step off the back, 6 inches, and then we're going to gather and get back into just our regular stance. So again, we do a lot of just boom, 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 I reload it. We come up, boom, boom, reload, again, just to get them started. Shuffle, shuffle, and again, it's just what it is. Step replace, shuffle, shuffle, and I stop them. So I'm really trying to break it down. The first day, all my freshman kids shuffle 100 miles an hour, wanting to show me how hard they're going to work. Love it, the enthusiasm, all that stuff. And I'll say, stop. I want step, replace, shuffle, shuffle, stop. That's the drill. So again, what I'm looking for, posture the whole way. Boom, not clicking the heels. If you try to do it all, they're going to do what they want to do. And I'm facing it right now. I'm fighting with some of my young kids in winter workouts. They want to click their heels and they want to go 100 miles an hour. That's not what the shuffle is for a linebacker. You don't have to shuffle really fast. You're just shuffling to keep your shoulders square, keep yourself in a position. Don't take yourself out of the play. All you're trying to do is get yourself in a position to make a play. And again, so many freshman kids, young kids, want to be 100 miles an hour and they take themselves out of more than they're going to make. So again, shuffle, shuffle, counter, same deal. So we're shuffle, shuffle, we see counter, we're going to shuffle, shuffle back to our original position. So again, my thought, I'm going to send the kids this way, shuffle, shuffle. I'm going to bring them back with a cue just so they see something coming back. I want to see them and hear them say counter. So again, we get them in good habits where it's all tying together. Your feet, your hips, your voice, and your eyes are all working together. So you're giving multiple cues, multiple looks for them. So you're not just saying, hey, it's counter drill, bang, bang, go, and nothing, no one says anything. They run through it 100 miles an hour. Let's make sure we get something out of it and we make it work. Shuffle, shuffle, and press. So again, step, replace, shuffle, shuffle. You're seeing your fit. We're just going to press square. And again, I want to see them not get off balance, not cross their feet when they're coming forward to press that gap. They're planted here and they're stepping and they're in a good position here to shed a block or to make a tackle because they've diagnosed what's going on and they're going to step forward and make that play. So that's all the counter or the press step is. Shuffle, shuffle, scrape. So again, same thing. We're shuffle, shuffle, bang. Now they're getting an outside zone, a power that's bounced, a toss, whatever it may be. And now we're going to try to get that downhill, chin up, chest forward, scraping 45 to the edge, inside out. Usually I'll have a cone out there or something as an aiming point. So they kind of come through that and they don't get that idea that we're doing this flat down the line. We're going to come on that 45. We're going to duck inside out. We're going to force the ball to the edge. We need to develop that trust that they can hit that angle and that support player is going to come off the edge and kick the ball back to him. If he doesn't, well, it ain't your fault. So do your job, do it right. Don't just say I'm running out there because that's where I see the ball and now it cuts back. You got to be able to play it inside out. I know you all know what I'm talking about there. All right, shuffle, shuffle, press and drop. is really a play action look for me. So even though it's run movements is what I'm calling it, for me, this is one that, again, your play action pass game, boom, step replace, shuffle, shuffle, bang, now I got pass. I want to see him transition. And again, just looking to make sure their eyes, their hips, and their feet are all working together. I want to hear some deal. So I'm here, boom, shit, pass, bang. So now they're out of it. So again, now I know they understand how the drill relates to the game, that they're seeing the whole deal, and it works together. The last thing, and we just started to introduce this probably 2 years ago, all right, is a bounce read, for RPOs, okay? So anytime we're an A-gap player, we're going to step replace and use all the drills that we just talked. And that's how I taught all linebackers for 20-some years of coaching linebackers. All right, but 2 years, maybe 3 years ago, when we started seeing the RPO stuff, anyone who's a B-gap defender is now going to be a bounce player. So again, all they're here is they're going to bounce in place. We're not trying to come forward, backwards, whatever. We're just trying to bounce and hold. So again, if we're a B-gap defender right here, and they're in trips here, and that linebacker has to remove to go out to cover down on number 3, but he's still the B-gap player, he's going to bounce, and hold. So now he reads run, he gets the whole process, we can fall back in and play run. If he's got to play pass, he hasn't committed, and hopefully we're giving that quarterback a hazy read where he's not saying, hey, I know he committed, I'm going to throw. Our thing, and I tell our kids all the time, do you guys want to defend run or pass? Well, if it's a linebacker that's worth the shit, he should be saying, I want to defend run. We all in agreement there? So, if you stay square and you bounce and hold, and he's reading you, what should the quarterback do? Should give the ball, right? So he gives the ball, now we know it, and we can go tackle. If you want to be that guy, I'm a downhill linebacker, I'm going to make every play, and you come and do this, well, you're a dumbass because you're giving up all the plays. Now, everyone in the stands is saying it's that DB's fault behind you. Why can't we cover? Coach Furlong, what the hell are you doing? Let's blitz and play man and stop all that stuff. But the reality is it's the dumbass linebacker who won't play his technique, and he's hurting his team. And he's not helping himself. How stupid are you? Make him hand the ball off and go make the damn tackle. That's what you want. So we spend a lot of time. Even if we're in the B gap, it's a 2-back set anymore. We teach bounce technique. So again, if you're removed, if you're on the weak side, it's trips, and you're the weak side linebacker and you're walked away helping on number 1 weak, and you got the B gap, you're running a bounce. So if you're an A gap player, we're going to step replace shuffle. If you're a B gap defender, you're going to be a bounce, or an edge defender, C or D gap, you're going to be a bounce player. And again, with the bounce, I'll still do some shuffle drills, some play action, and some things off that. But it all starts there. And I think my kids have really figured it out. That when you bounce and you do it right, not all the time, right? Because sometimes it's a pass call anyway. So you ain't affecting that outcome anyway. But when it's the true RPO, we've been able to get that out of our kids. And I think it's been a help for us. And I think it's caused some issues for the other team a little bit. And again, a lot of people are teaching a lot of different things, but I think that's becoming a little more norm when you talk to a lot of guys across the country. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of college guys now, is that's what we're doing. All right, pass footwork. All right, so man skills. We're going to teach man skills versus a running back, a tight end, and a wide receiver. The first thing that we're going to talk about, because we play man on the back probably 90% of the time. One of the 2 linebackers is going to man the back close to 90% of the time in our scheme. We want to close space as quickly as possible. So again, we're going to go through that progression, either a bounce or a step replace, but as soon as we're convinced that it's pass, we're going to try to attack that back inside out. We're going to try to close space, and we're going to try to take the inside of the field. Philosophically, defensively, our deal is we cannot allow people to run the ball in the A and the B gap consistently, and we can't allow any pass plays between the hashes. Okay, they can complete all the balls they want. Again, shouldn't say it that way. We don't want them to complete balls. But when they're completing passes, we want everything to be outside the hash marks. So when we're playing man-to-man on a running back, again, we're going to step, replace, we're going to attack inside out, and we're going to try to force him to have to run flat routes to the sideline. If he's going to run a seam route, we're going to try to be aggressive and attack, get some hands on, and try to work him wide. The one that bothers me the most is when they run the cut route. And again, young guys, they get too aggressive. They get, all this stuff. But usually it's because they get too high and they don't put their eyes in the right place. You get that cut route coming back underneath you and you're screwed. All right, if they keep their hips down and they keep their eyes through the midsection, when you're seeing that guy, you're in this kind of position. We call it the prey position. You're preying like a cat trying to prey on somebody. You kind of pounce, whatever you want to call it. All right, get down, get your eyes in the right place, take that inside, and I'm going to live with them completing a flat route. If my kid chases and tackles that, I don't give them a lot of grief on that. We'll try to help with the DB. We'll inside, outside some things, and we'll find a way to help take that away, but something we work there. The other part is when you get that back, stepping up in the gap, showing protection, squares you up, tries to take you inside, outside. Again, our big thing, take the inside away, be aggressive to the line of scrimmage, make them think you're blitzing. So again, if this back was here and coming up, all right, I want to get right into him here. I want my eyes down. I want to see through the numbers in his chest with my head on the inside shoulder. If I'm aggressive, hopefully he's got a check release. He's got to block me because he feels like I'm coming. So now you don't have to cover him. All right? If he gives you that shake, again, now we're going to try to just force everything to the sideline, because if he beats you back across the middle, I got no help for you. So we overemphasize that and teach that. But those are the couple things we do with the running backs there. If it's a tight end, again, most of the time for us, we're going to just try to play an inside shade. We're going to try to step, get our hands, near hand to the inside number, far hand to the backside hip, the near side hip, just like we're kind of shedding a block, but we're going to just try to get that action, and we're going to try to lock on and run with the guy. If anything crosses your face or comes inside, you can't let it cross your face. You're going to cancel that and be physical with it. And if he runs in the flat, just like we did with the running back, chase it and tackle it up, we'll live with the flat route. And then on a wide receiver, and the MAC linebackers don't do a ton of stuff on wide receivers, all right, with man coverage. We've kind of eliminated doing man-free and stuff like that. We're playing robber. Our Wolf linebacker, in a few occasions, is going to man that guy. But again, we treat it just like a tight end. Just get your hands to his inside number, his inside hip. Stay low with your eyes. Force everything to the sideline, flip and run, and you're going to get help on top. So again, we used to play a lot of man free and two lock, man under. We've kind of eliminated that, so I don't teach that as much as I used to. Our square drill. I probably do this close to every day. I've got a student assistant that helps me. I try to make him do square drill every day before we start. Basically, I put 4 cones out, 5 yards in a square. We start the kids on the line. I'm in front of them. All right, so the cones would be behind me. Step, replace, shuffle, shuffle. I'm going to put my hands up. That says it's pass. They're going to cross over, run to that 5-yard spot. When they get there, we're going to buzz our feet and keep them hot with our shoulders slightly angled away, but the ability to see me, so I was the coach right there. The first thing I'm going to do is say back. I'm going to point to the cone in front of them. They're going to come back. So you're getting a flat route or a swing route. You're in a drop coverage. Something's coming in front of you, like I say, and we're going to drive up and tackle it. So that's all back is, but it's 5 yards. Instead of having them drop 10, 12 yards to the curl or the flat, we just condense it to a 5-yard square. The next one, same thing. Step, replace. We're opening. They're seeing me. I'm pointing to the sideline. They're going to plant out, out, out. We call that an L cut. So we're trying to undercut and out route to the sideline. Again, our kids get it pretty well. Next progression is a curl or a squeeze. So again, we're opening. We get to that spot. Boom, buzz your feet. I'm yelling curl, curl, curl. So again, I'm trying to combine them hearing things, verbalizing things, using their feet and their hips. They're going to plant and shuffle back to the inside, trying to squeeze a curl route, coming back inside. The next one we work is meld. This is one of the really hard ones to do. We're crossover run here. I'm going to be yelling post, 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 plant, open your hip back, and sprint to the post. That one, we just kind of give them a spot to run to, but I tell them, you hear post from the corner, plant, drive, and just sprint as fast as you can. They're never really going to defend a post route really well. It's hard as hell to do, but if they run fast, hopefully the corner's in good position, they're running, maybe it forces the quarterback to put a little extra air, and what I've seen more than that is they can be the second guy in on a post route. So we play our corners real heavy inside out. Even in a cover 3, we don't play them outside leverage. Everything's inside. So they're going to be inside and on top. If that kid throws it, corner's breaking, hopefully we're the second guy in, can get a hit on that guy, disrupt, and do some things that way. And then the last one is just a baseball turn. Simple deal. Again, we're opening. That guy's going vertical, jet, jet, jet. We're going to flip and run with it, and then we're going to try to ear hole the receiver. So what I mean by that, the receiver's going, I'm trying to take my ear hole into his ear hole. I'm trying to lean into his underneath shoulder, widen him a little off his spot, and I'm going to overplay the outside, anticipating that it may go jet and out, so it's an L cut, okay? Because again, we're going to play a lot of inside technique with our DBs, so if we're leaning out this way and he bends it on us, that's the safety or the corner's job to play the bend a little bit more. But we're helping them out, hopefully, by just widening that a little bit. Questions on any of those in the square drill?
So your eyes on the coach or the quarterback?
As soon as we're here and kind of swiveled, but once we get to the point where we hear something. So again, this is me verbalizing every one of these things. I'm saying back, back, they break up. But if I get here and I yell jet, jet, that's telling him he's getting a vertical. He doesn't worry about the quarterback now. He's flipping and basically playing man, all right, but he's anticipating it going toward the sideline.
Do you ever do guys running the routes instead of
We will put a guy at that cone, but here's my thing. I always verbalize it because I want them to see it, but it's really the corner and the safety's job to tell us what we're going to do, okay? Because again, you're going to try to do all this stuff. They're going to just be slow and stiff, and it's always going to be late. So we do a lot where our DBs have to tell us what they want us to do. So if they want us overplaying the sideline, they're going to yell out, 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 and my guys are trained like dogs to run out. If they hear curl, 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 they should plant and shuffle back inside. So that DB, and one of the tough things we get is young guys, especially not knowing our terminology. So, what's a vertical route to some people? It's a jet to us. Some people say, hey, go, go, or whatever. It's a jet. So we got to get kids to say the right things. The curl in the post, sometimes it gets a little hairy, how quickly they call it. But we'll get them trained there eventually, and same, we'll get the DBs trained, we'll get the linebackers trained. But they're kind of on a swivel till they get to that point and they're hot, then it's all verbal there. So I want them to see the quarterback as much as possible. Ball's thrown, they can break on their own, but when they turn here, they lose sight of it. They're never going to make a play on the ball. Make sense? Okay. Questions? Anybody? Okay. All right, our run reads. And again, everybody's got certain things that they do. When we're in one back, we're going to read the back to the near guard, always trying to see the whole triangle if we can. Isn't always clean that way, but that's our idea. So again, if they're in shotgun with an offset, they're under center with the back in a home position, or if they're in pistol with the back behind them, anytime it's a one-back set, we're going to read the back for direction to the near guard. Okay, and I'm going to kind of walk you through that here in a minute. If they're in two-back, we're going to read the fullback to the near guard, again, hoping to see the whole triangle, all right? And then again, we're going to spend time pistol, shotgun, and offset fullback. So again, it's a 2-back set. If the fullback's offset, we're going to always read the guy in home position behind the quarterback, and we're going to eliminate that offset guy from our 2 stacked inside linebackers. Okay? And again, we spend a lot of time talking about tight and wide shoulders, flow, if you will. So again, if they're in a shotgun, quarterback's here, I'm the offset guy, are my shoulders staying square and tight? So again, to us, that's inside zone, trap, midline, whatever. We're going to press the hell out of our gaps. If we're seeing wide shoulders, now typically that's your stretch, pin and pull, sweep, stuff from a run game, and a lot of the RPO game is there, right? Because that's what they're trying. They're trying to draw you with wide shoulders. You'll see some teams that'll keep square shoulders and tight and run the RPO game, but a lot of them are really doing wide shoulders. Again, and I'm spending some time right now tracking that off the teams we played last year and trying to determine how many times we got wide shoulder fake throw versus tight shoulder fake throw, and to see if that may mean something to me where I can help my kids out a little bit more. But that's what we're talking about. If we're in pistol, again, it's, downhill, A gap, B gap, midline, we're going to press it out. If they're in pistol or under center and you're seeing that drop step with wide, then that means we're going to scrape and get over the top of it. And then with offset backs, we're seeing split flow. For me, what I tell our kids, if you've got 2 backs or a H-back, wing, whatever you want to say, and they do this, we're going to press it out straight ahead. So you're going to press your gap straight ahead. So again, we work off all these things. We put them in as many situations as we can. And again, it's not earth-shattering. I put 2 linebackers up. I put one guy as a guard, one guy as a running back, and we just run through inside zone, outside zone, power, stretch, sweep, strong, weak, to the tight end, away from the tight end. Just again, trying to show as many looks as we can. And then when I watch film, particularly practice film in spring of inside drill, that's what I'm saying. What's your key? Back. What's he do? Tight flow. What'd the guard do? Zone. What'd the guard do? He pulled. What'd the guard do? He went out. So again, now we're trying to build off all those things. So again, I want them to tell me what they see so I can coach them on what they should do from there. And hopefully, if we're right, we're all on the same page. We're seeing tight shoulders. There's a few plays, right? It's a little hazy. All right, that's hazy. All right, what are you going to do? Well, I saw it as tight. Well, okay, you saw it as tight. Did you do what you were supposed to do if you read that as tight flow? Well, Coach, I saw that as wide flow. Okay, it was wide flow. Did you do what you were coached to do with wide flow? And if they do that, at least I know this is what they're seeing and they're doing the right thing based on what they see. If they're not, then that's where I've got to spend more time and get it corrected. Questions there? Anything? All right, so again, this is a normal deal for us. Again, right now we're in off-season workouts. I get my guys for about 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week. We're just in the gyms right now because we haven't really pushed the weather situation too much. But I'll go through some of my footwork drills. I'll go through my square drill for 5 minutes. And then right now I'm just putting 5 cones up as the offensive line. I'm putting 1 kid as the guard, 1 kid as a quarterback, 2 linebackers, and then we start with midline or trap. So if we're getting anything A or B gap, again, step replace, and we're just pressing our gaps. We're looking to work on our footwork that we did previous. So we want our footwork to match our eyes, pressing our gaps, and midline and trap. We're putting them in 2 stacked positions inside. We're putting a MAC with a linebacker wide, doing the same thing there. All right, inside zone, strong and weak, stretch or sweep, pin and pull stretch, whatever anyone wants to call it, same thing. But we're going to the tight end, away from the tight end, putting them in our different fronts, and just making sure their eyes and their feet. When I'm doing this drill, I'm asking my kids to tell me what the back is doing and what the guard's doing. So again, tight, wide, pull, any of that kind of stuff. Power, they're seeing plays, but I'm trying to get them to verbalize what they're seeing in the offseason. I know in a game, they're not yelling, tight and pull and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully that it becomes a habit and we get some of it. But again, I think, for me as a coach, if they can verbalize it, then I know what they're seeing and I know if their eyes are right. All right, we're going to work power and power same. That's one that's tough for some kids. You're getting offset back here. He's getting a zone read, and you're getting the pull from the backside. So then he's kind of bending back to it. You can treat it as counter if you want. We call it power same. That's the one that we work on a lot because, again, they're seeing back action here, tells them to press it out, but we're getting a pull. So the backside guy should be following the pull. So we work on that a little bit. That's sometimes a confusing read for us. We're going to see counter, 2-back counter, 1-back counter, quarterback counter, the power read stuff, counter, all that kind of stuff. We're working the heck out of it right now. I'm killing it right now because, again, we're in shorts, we're in the gym. I'm trying to get as many reps at that as I can so they see it and they see it and they see it. The other thing I do with my kids, I ask the kids, again, there's so much film on the internet right now. You can pull up 20 bowl games or whatever. So I asked them to go pull up a game and watch the game and give me 5 plays maybe once a week where they draw it out. So they're going to say, hey, I watched Clemson, Alabama national championship game, and they say, hey, it was in the first quarter. They draw the formation, they draw the play, and they tell me what the read is, just so I know they're watching some football film. And just so I know they're getting to see something. It's easy. It's not easy. When they watch our film, they only want to watch themselves. They don't get the big picture. They want to see if they made a tackle. They want to see their buddy lighting somebody up, making an interception, whatever. So it becomes social, I guess, and fun. And you want it to be fun, obviously. But take another game that you have no connection to and watch it. A couple years ago when I did this, we had a kid loved Ray Lewis. He could tell me every play Ray Lewis had for the whole season. I think he had 112 tackles. I think my kid charted all of them because he loved Ray Lewis so much. But it was great because his eyes, man, they were really good because he wanted to see what Ray Lewis was seeing. So I'm saying, why is Ray making that tackle? What's the back doing when Ray does this? And it got to the point where he really trusted me as his coach because when he saw inside shoulders, Ray Lewis was banging the shit out of the inside gap and making a play. When he saw something wide, his shoulders, and he was skating to the sideline or scraping and making those plays. So I've tried to incorporate that as a way, and kids love watching football. They're that way. Last year with the Eagles in the Super Bowl, man, they must have watched that film 1,000 times, right? So every one of them could tell me half the plays in the Super Bowl. They watched it, but they could tell me, hey, tight shoulders with the guard pull. Tight shoulders, the center pull. Well, it's pin and pull stretch. Center's pulling. What else does the center pull on? So some of those things could tie in, maybe help you a little bit. Again, RPO stuff, we spent a lot of time on that same bounce deal and being able to go and then split zone. So a lot of the things I just talked about, but we cover those things consistently. My kids get these PowerPoints. I send them to them. And again, we try to work through all that. Pass drops. Again, I'm going to kind of buzz through this quick so I can get to watching some stuff. But we work on flat drops, hash drops, and middle of the field drops for our linebackers. Again, I said before, we play a lot of man concept. We don't play a lot of zone. So I'm a spot drop guy. If you're a flat defender, we're going to try to get to the outside edge of the numbers, 8 to 10, sometimes 12 yards deep underneath number 1, and listen, just like we do in square drill, listen to the corner. He'll tell you how to adjust. Should we push flat? Should we squeeze curl? Should we go high and meld the post? Same thing. Hash drops, we're 3 yards inside, outside the hash. Depending on where the ball is, we're reading either off 3 strong or 2 weak. And the same deal. Get to that area, hash 3 yards inside, 3 yards outside. Listen to the safety, curl, out, jet, whatever it is, and adjust your drop based on that. And then middle of the field, if you're a middle of the field, which really for us is mostly the middle linebacker when we play cover 2, which again for us is maybe 10% of the time, he's basically trying to get between the goalposts, leaning toward 3, and listening to the safety tell him what to do. We work reading the running backs, swing routes, flat routes, across, which means he's going across the formation, which would either be to block or to leak out backside, maybe screen or whatever. And up is just him stepping up in the B or A gap, giving a protection look, maybe leaking out. But we read those things. We play man off those things. We read zone, and we are add in blitzers off that stuff. So we give all these looks. We're going to see a up or a seam route and a screen pass. So we just try to show them those things, line them up in the front, and play it. Tight ends and wide receivers, same. Number 2, flat drag jet is our general calls. 2 in the flat, 2 drags, 2 jets. If he blocks, obviously it's a run play. And then the slot guys are getting bubbles. So again, if we're in a zone drop or whatever, how do we get to those zones, and we work that? We work kind of what we talked about before, running back man off those routes. These are the ones. We work a swing route from the back. We work the back out in the flat. We work the back flat and cut, flat and wheel, and then the seam route going vertical, and we work the hell out of that over and over and over. Our base concepts in our robber deal, one of our guys is always playing man on the back. One is playing low cross to high hole. Again, so whoever has the backs playing man, the other guy, his first deal is to take away cross or drag from 2 to 1 to their side of the field. If he gets no drag, they go vertical, then he's going to play high hole 2 to 1. Again, it's an easier concept to show than to explain, but that's what we do, and that's how we work it with our kids. When we have 2 receivers to a side, so let's say we've got a slot and a wide out to the boundary side. Strength was to my left. The back is offset this way. The back, middle backer and the weak linebacker are going to work what we call a push call. So again, if the back's offset here and he comes here, the wolf linebacker is going to push to him and take a man-to-man. The Mac's going to slide play low cross, high hole off number 2. If the back was away from us, the Mac linebacker is going to say uno. That means I got the back, and now the wolf linebacker knows he's the low cross, high hole player weak in our robber coverage. Okay? Push high is usually only to trips for us. Single receiver weak with the back set weak. We're going to kind of zone that off. We're going to play flat and hash with the Mac and the wolf weak and let the back come to us late. If we call push, same thing. Outside guy's going to jump. But when that happens in trips, very rarely can the Mac linebacker get to the number 1 receiver weak and help. So we'd rather push high than push to that, if that makes sense to you. And I'll show you a clip here. Again, uno means we're manned up there, and cuatro is trips with the back to the trip side. So we got 4 receivers to that side. If we're in a zone call, we're going to push to that. So if that back goes out, the Mac linebacker will run to it, and the wolf will push to number 3 in the middle of the field. So again, it's just a quads type of look in the backfield. That's what cuatro push means to us. And then we work switches and swaps with the DBs. So in any of our coverages where we're working off number 3, if 3's in the flat, we call switch. The DB will take 3 in the flat, and we'll work to number 2, low cross, high hole coming back. If 3 goes vertical, we'll carry the vertical, but if 3's in the flat, we're going to switch with the DB. If we get a vertical from 3 and 2 comes under, that's a swap for us. So again, now the DB is going to squeeze from outside in toward 3, and we're going to step forward and take the low cross or the under from number 2. So we work a lot of that stuff. Again, that's not great clinic stuff, but that's just the progression for us. Pass rush stuff, speed rush, aiming points and chops. To me, you're blitzing off the edge. What's your aiming point? 5, 6, 7 yards deep, yard outside. And if you're getting tackle or back to you and we're in a speed rush situation, we want to work a lot of chop and hand stuff. If we're power rush, we're more of an interior blitzer, A or B gap. We're going to look to bull, We're going to work our hip drills, separate, that kind of stuff. We got blitz peels coming off the edge when the back swings on us. We're going to read square shoulders or soft shoulders. So if we're coming off the edge, all right, and we're seeing that tackle, all right, and he's giving us soft shoulders here, we're going to be a power rusher. We're going to try to bull and take our momentum and our speed and take his fat ass moving backwards and bull him back into the quarterback. Okay, you get a big guy moving, it's hard for them to stop that momentum. Okay, and then if we get square shoulders, that kid's staying here, we're going to try to speed it and outrun it. And again, we're going to try to play to our strengths. My edge rusher should be faster and more athletic than that offensive tackle or guard, right? So again, if he's going to stay square and try to hunker down and be physical, we're going to try to outrun it and speed it off the edge, if that makes sense to you. So we spend a lot of times reading those things. We work a lot of push-pull. So again, trying to kind of get this and get turns and hips. We're going to work arm over, uppercut, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to buzz quick. I want to get to a couple snaps of film. Again, I got our shed drills and stuff like that. Again, I'd love to send you all that stuff. I'm sorry I took too long. All right, so I'm going to hopefully advance just to the tight shots. So again, we're in a back call. We kick the front to the back. The sorry. I haven't figured this out. Let me run it from here. I'm sorry. All right, so we're at a reduced front weak. The MAC linebackers got A gap to field side C. We're bringing the end underneath to B gap, bringing a pressure off the edge. But a pretty good job. You can see a pitter patter, and I don't think I mentioned that, but that's one of our things. Again, if we're getting an inside fit, step replace or bounce, and it's coming, we just want to keep feet hot. Not being too aggressive till we're really sure. And you can see the Mac does a nice job with the little pitter-patter right there. And then he accelerates through the tackle. We did a great job. We faced two really great running backs. This kid right here from Slippery Rock, he's the number 6 rated running back in the draft right now. Tore it up in one of the Senior Bowl games. Wes Hillis, we held him to 68 yards. And then we played a kid from Gannon who was a 2-time All-American. We held him to 56. Really nice job right here. Not a great bounce by the MAC linebacker, 56. But you see how he doesn't vacate the B gap? He should be a bounce player right here. He's a B gap player. But he holds, scrapes, makes the ball commit, does a pretty good job, and a nice job by our safety pressing the edge right there. So again, we got an inside stunt with the end coming right here. You see our MAC linebacker. He's going to bounce, pitter-patter, hold A gap, scrape to C. Exactly what we want right there. Not maybe the prettiest tackle. You'd like to see him run through that and stay high. But again, he's a great player. He's going to get a shot at the next level. He's pretty legitimate. Time for the Eagles this spring. Was 278 pounds at the time and ran a 4.840. He's down, played at about 255. He's down to about 245 right now. He's got a full-time trainer and all that kind of stuff. But great player. So again, here's a counter look. So you got the back coming across, quarterback taking it out the back door. The thing here, there's no real pull, which is that's a tough read, but a really nice job by our Wolf, blitzing off the edge right there, beating the block of the linebacker. But a nice job. You see the Mac 56. See how he's in control coming across. He's staying lateral. We've got a stunt coming on the weak side, so he's a press player. He's working off 4 right there. And again, to me, that's tight shoulders. Stay in the box, no fit. Don't just bury in a gap. Stay high, stay patient, let it happen. Worked out pretty well right there. And again, this is a stunt that we use. We kick the front to the back. We run what we call an inch stunt, which is this guy right here. And he's a little wide pre-snap, but he's going through the A-gap, and he's really trying to angle and work, hopefully, to the opposite A-gap. So we're giving him a lot of freedom. The Mac linebacker is going to check A and work scrape C to the edge. He's a step slow right here, and I didn't show you the wide copy, but our safety didn't read his key, and he went all pass, and you can see how late he is right there. They ran this same look a couple plays ago. Tyler made the play for about a 2-yard gain. Here it's about a 7, but we didn't get any edge because they didn't read their gap or their key right, and so now Tyler's got to chase him to the edge, and he's a little off. But again, what I like here, attack downhill, cut the angle off, make him go to the sideline. To me, that's just like a back catching a flat route right there. That's what I was talking about before. As long as he's chasing to the sideline, I'm okay with it. And again, that's a pretty big kid being pretty athletic. So we've got a tighten call here, sending the 2 tackles into A gaps, puts the weak outside linebacker as a B gap fit, squeezing it outside in. He does a nice job on 64 right here. Again, I'd like to see a little more separation with the hands, but pretty good. And then a really nice job by the Mac linebacker, totally in control, shoulders square, his posture, I talked about that, is, again, for a kid who's 6'3", 6'4", he's in a good football position pretty much the whole way through. Same look. He's getting a swing route from the back. You can't quite see the back here. He maybe is a little, I'd like to see him close space to the line of scrimmage just a little bit more, the Mac. But again, pretty good posture, pretty good shoulder square, and you can see him step back right here. They're running swing route, trying to get him vacated and run draw up in the B gap. And again, he's going to be able to fall back in on it. The end makes a really nice play right here. And the backside Wolf does a nice job coming off the edge. This is the other running back I was talking about before, All-American kid, number 4. So here we flopped our 2 linebackers. So the Wolf is now strong side, again, because he's a better coverage kid. He's the bounce player because he's playing B gap here. He's probably not as covered down as I would like him to be on 3. He's hugging the box. But again, we tell our kids, hug the box until they throw you out of it. They hadn't thrown us out of it. This kid was an All-American, was their deal. But again, we put him as the B-gap player, let him play the backside. Tight shot here. But again, really nice job by 56. You can see posture, square, color in the gap. And again, he ain't, being, like I said, we all want aggressive, tough kids. it's just good patience, good control. He's not just saying, I'm flying through a gap, I'm going to be a tough guy. He wants to make tackles. And a nice job by 28, coming from outside in, using his hands. I like to see him keep his head on the outside here, but pretty good fit position across the board, and it gives our end a chance to squeeze down and make a tackle there off the edge. So we would consider this a two-back set with the H-back, but again, we won't key him. All our eyes will be there. This is a really nice shed block, or shed by the MAC linebacker. Again, you see him getting extension on the center, rocking his head back a little bit, pop, lock, come off and make a play. Again, he's one of the best I've ever coached. Pretty special kid. And a pretty good job by the other kid right here. The guy that should fill this, we'll see it on the tight here to finish it up. The way we play two back deals, our high safety becomes the extra box player. So you see that gap, that should be number 20. Our high safety, he's fitting off he's reading off 81. The Wolf linebacker's taking him on outside in. He should be filling that gap a little bit faster right there. He's playing man coverage on 81. 81 comes inside to ISO. The linebacker fits it outside, and he should be downhill right now. He should be screaming right through there. And again, the MAC linebacker's holding a cutback to over the top. And again, 20's just a little hesitant right there. Again, didn't kill us, 4-yard gain, but again. So again, two-back set initially. They motion out, it becomes one back. Go to the tight shot here. So again, doesn't affect us. And again, in this look right here, our safety is covering the back, which is this guy right here. He knows it's probably going to motion. He's taking it and allows the two linebackers to stay in the box. We're in an outside call here, so the outside linebacker should set the edge. And the MAC linebacker, again, doesn't make the play here, but he's really good staying square and filling inside out. I think that's all the time I have. Again, I'm sorry, like most clinics, you never get through everything you'd like to do, but I hope it helped a little bit. And again, our spring ball starts April 1st. I told some guys before, please come down. My card's up here. Grab my card. Shoot me an email. I will send you the PowerPoint and the film attached with it, and I'll send you our spring practice schedule. You're welcome to come to any of our practices, sit in our meetings. We love to have guys come down, and if you have any questions, like I say, give me a call, and I'll call you back, and we'll try to talk it through on the phone if I can help you that way. Thank you.